If somebody can walk away from your life, let them walk away. You shouldn't have to convince anybody to love you. If they can walk, let them go. If they leave you, it means they're not attached to your future. Some of you, you are taking too much time trying to convince people to love you that do not matter. Some of you are taking way too much time tolerating and trying to get people engaged that don't matter, that don't care, that are never ever going to help you get into your destiny. What if I told you that some of the rejection you have been facing in your life, it's because people are jealous of what's on your life? What if I told you that the rejection is simply an indication that you got favor on your life? God is getting ready to do something in your life. You just got to understand there's more to know. There's more to know.
Move on. Straight up, move on. Forget them. They are lying and they are untrustworthy. So move on. That person is not who you thought they were, right? They are not who you thought they were. The idea that this person was a trustworthy, faithful companion is not true. It is not true. That person does not exist. They didn't exist and they don't exist. It was in your head. It was in your head that this person was trustworthy and they were everything you wanted them to be and they were a faithful companion. That is a lie. They are not that person. They have proved it. They have proved it by their actions. Be thankful that you were able to learn before you invested more into this person. Be thankful that you found out when you did that this person was a liar, that this person was unfaithful, was untrustworthy. Be thankful that you know it.
If somebody wants to leave, let them leave. Your destiny is not tied to the people that walked away. Quit trying to talk people into staying. You don't have to convince anyone to love you, to call you, to come see you. You are a gift. You are a prize. You have something amazing to offer. If they don't want to be there, that's a sure sign they're not supposed to be there. One of your dreams may have died. That didn't stop God's plan. He has another dream. One relationship may not have worked out. If you'll kiss goodbye the old, God will show you the new. If someone is supposed to be in your life, you can't make them leave. And if someone leaves easily, they're not supposed to be there. But sometimes God will close the door. He'll move people out of your life. There are people and opportunities that were ordained for your past that are not ordained for your future. They were right for a season, but that season can come to an end. The key is how we handle the closed doors, how you handle the disappointments, how you handle the people that treated you wrong. It takes a lot of energy to think about the past, relive the hurts, wonder why it didn't work out. That person you lost, if they were supposed to be here, they would still be here. If somebody left you, I say it respectfully, you don't need them. If it didn't work out the way you had planned, it wasn't supposed to. God's ways are not our ways. Will you trust Him when it doesn't make sense? When God makes up for what you lost, it's not going to be less than, it's not going to be equal, it's going to be better. Just because it hasn't turned out the way you thought doesn't mean you have to settle for second best. God has to come up with a plan B. God already knew what would happen. He knew every door that would close. He knew every person that would walk away. He knew how you'd spend time and energy, but a dream not come to pass. All that is getting you prepared for where God has taken you. He's the Alpha and the Omega. He knows how to not only open doors that no man can shut, He knows how to close doors that no man can open.
Don't worry about the people that God has removed from your life. He saw things you didn't see. He heard conversations you couldn't hear. And He made moves you wouldn't make. And that's it. When a door gets shut, all you gotta do is walk up the hall. It's more doors. This is God. God is, he's everything, man. He got everything. You have to live your life in the expectation of wonderful things happen. God is a merciful God. He didn't bring you this far to leave you. He didn't set you up to fail. He only wants to progress his children. That's all he wants to do. Even if you're wrong, he forgives us. Just keep moving, man. It ain't nothing.
We all go through things in life that don't make sense. A friend walked out of a relationship. The company's downsizing. They don't need us anymore. Or we were being our best. Then the pandemic hit. Business went down. Children can't go to school. Dreams are put on hold. Sometimes it feels like we're going backwards. It's easy to live frustrated and think, God, why is this happening? But we're not going to understand everything that happens. God's ways are not our ways. He can see things that we can't see. And just because it's not fair doesn't mean that God is not in control. Your steps are being ordered by the Lord. If He allowed it to happen, He's going to bring good out of it. He promises all things work together for your good. On its own, it may not be good. It wasn't fair, you're uncomfortable, but when it all comes together, you're going to see how it works to your advantage. The difficulty, the delay, the betrayal was all instrumental in you reaching your destiny. But none of us like bad breaks, loss, delay. But without that difficulty, you couldn't become who you were created to be. It may look like a dead end, but really it's setting you up for promotion. That door closed so a bigger door could open. That person that left you, it was hurtful, but it wasn't just their choice. God moved them out of the way so He could bring someone better. Or that struggle was difficult. You didn't do anything wrong, but you had opposition at work. Your child wouldn't do what's right. It wasn't fair, but what you couldn't see is it was growing you up, developing your character, getting you stronger, more confident, more determined. Without it, you wouldn't be prepared for the blessing, the increase, the new levels that are coming your way. You may not understand what you're going through. You could live worried, discouraged. Try a new approach. God, I don't understand it, but I trust you. I know you're in control. You're working all things for my good. So I'm not going to live upset. I'm going to stay in peace, knowing that you will get me to where I'm supposed to be.
Now, here's the other thing that's very important. Once you identify your goal, I want you to get, if possible, a visual picture of your goal. My major goal was to buy my mother a home.
That when you turn inward, you can't find a reason to overcome. You can't find a way to put those pieces back together, and that becomes your job. It becomes literally up to you whether you're going to sit and wallow and woe is me, because what happened, happened, and there's no way to take it back. But how you respond?
Sorry, it's not something you want in your life. Pity party, we are done with that. There is no celebration and sorry.
I got the picture of the home with a 12-foot swimming pool and a basketball court on a golf course. I bought that home for my mother. It cost just over $400,000, 10,000 square feet. I had a picture long before I had the money and the down payment to get it. My goal was to be known nationally and internationally as a speaker. I had that goal. I had a card that I had on one side, asking you shall be given, seeking you shall find, knocking you shall be opened. On the other side I had, I'm the world's #1 orator. I produced that result in my life. I had a goal of becoming a talk show host. I used to watch Phil Donahue, and I put my picture on the screen of the television. As I listened to the program, I visualized myself there, and I was called by King World Production, and I had my own talk show. Well, it was the highest rated, fastest canceled talk show in the history of television.
What you bring to that table, whether you meet fire with fire, whether you meet that adversity with falling apart, becoming weaker in the areas that broke, or you bind them and mend them, and it becomes like a weld that literally makes you stronger, is a choice. And it's a choice only you get to make. But as Stephen Hawking said, when you complain, nobody wants to help you.
It's called life. Now, here's something else. You will fail your way to success. Trust me on that. You can have a lot of failures, a lot of disappointments, but you will fail your way to success. Goethe says that which does not kill you will make you stronger. See, 85% of people allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed. That's why you have to be of good courage. You have to have courage. When life knocks you down, I have a saying, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. So once you look at and decide the goal that you want to put some things, put a treasure board or a goal board and have pictures of the goal that you want to achieve so you can see it every day when you get up in the morning and the last thing at night. You're programming your subconscious mind where 9 out of 10 decisions that you make comes from there.
I used to do door-to-door sales, and I was working with another friend of mine, and door-to-door sales, I mean, it's punishing.
There are many things in your life you have every reason to complain about. You have every reason to be upset by the things that have happened to you. The most sinister thing about excuses is they're valid. There's a million reasons why you should be able to give up. There's a million reasons why you shouldn't need to try. That thing that broke you, you should be allowed to just sit on the ground. And here's the thing, that's your right. You have every reason to do it. And maybe people won't even think less of you. But here's the truth. You either become weaker or stronger in the places that broke, and that's a choice of how you react moving forward. The great news is, the best thing that you could do to become stronger is love yourself. And as Kamal Ravikant said, loving yourself is a practice. People think that it's something that's gonna feel right, that it's gonna feel natural, that you're just gonna turn inward and there it is, this spark of love and joy for yourself, inside yourself. And the truth is that's just not the human experience. That's not the way that it works. There's gonna be a voice inside your head and it's going to blame you.
Well, I'll ask you a question. What does John Belushi, Elvis Presley, Freddie Prinze, Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Marilyn Monroe, what do they all have in common? They're all people that never learned how to manage their state, that's what. They all were people that had every reason in the world to be happy by anybody else's standards, but who destroyed themselves, literally killed themselves in the end. I mean, Belushi's one of my favorite examples. Why? Because I like this guy. Didn't you? Wasn't this a fun guy? I mean, if you were to think of somebody, didn't he feel like this guy that you could connect with? I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed him. And millions of other people did as well. He had what most people would think would make them happy. He had all these people that loved him, appreciated his work. He got to be creative. He was in movies. He was in television. He was on Broadway. I mean, here was a guy that was spontaneous. He had a great family that totally loved him. He had all the money and fame that most people think that they could possibly want or need, and yet he's not here. How come? He's dead. Why? Not because of old age, you'll recall, but because this man did not know how to control his own emotions within himself.
There are no victories, and sorry won't carry you over. Sorry won't pick you up. Sorry won't push you forward. Be better. Be better within yourself. Production is what you seek. Manifestation of your greatness within you is what you need, not sorry. Put sorry in your back pocket and leave it there.
And he tried to change the way he was feeling by using drugs. He used drugs as a way to change his state, and he's no longer here. And neither of the other people I mentioned on this list. Think about it. There's a major price in now managing your state. And in managing your state, there's major rewards. Now let's contrast Belushi with a friend of mine. His name is W. Mitchell. One of the people in the world that I only love most, but I also have the most respect for. W. Mitchell's a unique guy. 15 years ago, he had a unique experience, one that most people would never forget. He was driving his motorcycle 65 miles an hour down a freeway when something caught his attention. When he looked over while he continued to drive forward, he got fixed on something. I don't know if you've ever done that. He got stuck there a little too long. Well, when he looked up, He was traveling 65 miles an hour right into the back of a Mack truck that had stopped in front of him.
Stop procrastinating on your purpose and wake up to the reality. Understand that you got to put in the work. Put aside the excuses. Stop waking up with the wrong attitude. Connect yourself with the reality that you must do better. You must do better and you must be better. Sorry will not promote you. Sorry won't put you in a better position. No success stories have ever been told with the word sorry attached to it. There are going to be some mistakes. No one can exist without them. But you cannot keep holding on.
In a last-minute, split-second decision to try and save his own life, he slammed himself on the ground and he slid 65 miles an hour underneath this truck across the pavement. Then the worst thing happened. The gas cap popped off. Fuel spilled out all over the place, and then from the friction, exploded and ignited. 3/4 of his skin was burned off. His entire face was mutilated. His fingers burned all the way down to the knuckles. He woke up 2 weeks later in a hospital bed in searing pain, fearing to even breathe. Now, for most people at this point, they'd say, hey, I'm out of here. Why stick around in this body? I'd rather just die. But not only did he not die, but he's become an example of true possibility for people all over the country. I mean, this gentleman could not even take drugs because his body was in such bad shape. But when people met him, they thought he must be on drugs because he seems so up. You know, they go in and talk to him, they feel bad. He goes, hey, it's over. We just got to move on.
And the reason why God allows me to do it is because he knows when I do it and I'm number one, he going to be glorified. Some of you going to embrace it. Some of you going to play with it. I'm hoping you going to embrace that. So y'all got a responsibility. Like, y'all got to, like, look, y'all, too much is given. Too much is given, much is required. Which means what? That means if I go to an elementary school, the kids still got to get ET. I went to one little school, they was like, are you going to be loud like that? I was like, absolutely. I'm coming hard. They was like, you going to be yelling at us? Absolutely, I'm going to be yelling at you. Why? Because statistics show if you in the hood and you can't read by the 3rd grade, you going to jail. So that's why I'm coming hard. Because you don't realize if you can't read on the 3rd grade level, by the time you get to the 3rd grade, the probability of you going to jail is 3 times higher than anybody else. I gotta get in your face because I gotta make sure you learn how to read. This is a divine appointment. Y'all got work to do and can't nobody slack this year. Too much is given, much is required. Too much is given, much is required, but don't worry about it. Because if you do what's required, you're gonna get the reward that comes with it. I got the reward now. A lot of folks ain't willing to do what I was willing to do. They want to blow up and they want to show their car. Go back and watch all my videos. You don't see no watches. And the reason why I don't wear Rolex, not because I can't afford it. I don't want nobody to give Rolex the credit. The reason why I wear a gold chain, I can wear a gold chain. I can drive a Bentley. I live in San Diego. I can show you my house. The reason why I don't show you my house, because I don't want the house to get the glory for what God has done. Too much is given, much is required. So it's not that I don't have stuff, I just don't show my stuff because I don't want my stuff to get the credit. Where much is given, much is required. God is going to do some special things through y'all. But you can't do what they do. I'm going to say it because I know y'all on the internet, y'all watching them when you should be letting them watch. I'm going to say it one more time. I want to make sure I'm clear. You watching what they doing and they should be watching what you doing. The reason why I don't do this and the reason why I show up for my kids, the reason why I try to show up for my wife, the reason why I try to show up for my church, because when young people watch me, I want them to go to God. I don't want them to go to the dealership. So I don't go on the internet and do what they do. Hey, E.T., you can do this on the internet. E.T., you number one. Why you ain't doing that? I'm not doing that because I don't get on the internet to follow them. I get on the internet for them to follow me. I don't get on the internet to be influenced by them. I get on the internet to influence them. Y'all about to win so you can influence them, not them influence you. You about to win. Some great stuff about to happen to you, some stuff that you can't understand, some stuff that you can't comprehend. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to be blessed. But when you get blessed, you're not supposed to be blessed so you can do what they're doing. You're going to get blessed so they can do what you're doing. If you've got the desire to win, if you want to be somebody, if you want to make your dreams come true, I don't care if you're 12 years old or 82 years old, your age is irrelevant. It's a form of ageism to tell a young person, just be patient. If you're like me, my mom and my dad didn't give me a business. I didn't start on second or third base like some of these people that are telling you somehow to be patient. I had to pick myself up by my bootstraps and make something of my life. And frankly, the sooner you get going, the sooner you start working on yourself, the sooner you make progress, the sooner you're going to get there and enjoy your life. And so don't listen to that crowd. Think about this. When I was in my 20s, I made 6 figures early in my 20s. By the time I was 30, I was making 7 figures. By the time I was 40, I was earning an 8-figure income. What if somebody had told me, cool it, be patient, don't worry about it? My entire life would be different. I wouldn't be looking at the ocean, living oceanfront now, or flying on my jet, or taking care of my parents, or having multiple homes, living on the lake, having multiple boats, multiple cars, whatever the material things are, donating to the charities that I want. And I listen to that absurd, ridiculous, stupid advice. So please don't listen to those people who tell you that. They have good intentions. They're talking about not putting pressure on yourself. You've got all kinds of time. The truth is, a little pressure is probably pretty good for you. Think about this. Steve Jobs was in his 20s and teens when he started. Bill Gates, Mark Cuban, Kylie Jenner. You talk any entrepreneur that's out there today that you know pretty well, most of them started young. Jay-Z started young. LeBron James started young. Why is it that you can't start young? Steve Jobs did, I did, Cuban did, Bill Gates did. There's thousands of entrepreneurs. In fact, the list of billionaires in the country gets younger every single year, as do the millionaires. You want to know why? Because of these things right here. Technology, your phone, your iPad, social media allows people at any age to win, including preteen and teenagers. And so please, parents, don't hold your kids back if they want to grow. Now that we can get rid of that myth, what should I be working on? Well, the first thing is this. I think you need to start to read books on persuasion and influence. And when you're watching social media or YouTube or listening to audio, somebody like myself, study their style, study how they roll their words out, their vocabulary. Begin to model them and then modify to your style. Model and modify. Model people and then modify. It's going to be your ability to persuade people, to influence people, to cast a vision, to transfer energy at any age of your life that's going to determine how far you go. So start to study the great communicators. That's number one. Begin at any age to have your children, or if you're one of those kids listening to this, young people, begin the process of setting goals early. Right now, begin to set goals and achieve them. Write down your outcomes, right? Third, begin to work on personal development. Read some books. Read Max Out Your Life, my book. Go to maxoutbook.com. Read that book. There are other great books out there by many people that you can begin to read around your school books or in the summertime on personal development, on personal growth, on influence, on persuasion, on leadership. Begin to feed yourself these great books, these great thoughts.
Just like the seasons, there are 4 of them. Fall, winter, spring, and summer. They always change and they have a purpose connected to it. But you as an individual, do you have that idea of changing the way you think? Do you have the ability to change your life? Look around you. Pay attention to the circumstances that we're in. It's more about sorrow than happiness. People only want to find a way to make more excuses than trying to make a change in their lives. Like I said, like the seasons, they're always changing. And they're going to continue to do exactly what they do. You know, when the winter comes, it's going to be cold. When the fall comes, it's going to be crisp. When the spring comes, it's going to be, it's chilly, but it's not too warm. And boy, when that summer comes, it's really hot. But it goes right back to doing exactly what it's been doing. But you, my friend, you got to do some things that's a little bit different, a little bit special, a little bit more unique, a little bit different, and stop feeling sorry for yourself. You got everything you need inside of you right now. Continue to make the most of your life and hold on to it with everything you got because it belongs to you. The time is now. Make the most of your life. Be productive in your life. Stand strong in your life. Change your life. Evolve your life. And continue to push forward. Because every day is a new day. And as long as you stand on it, as long as you believe in it, be the best that you could be within yourself. Change your ideas. Change your thought process. Have the right attitude to carry on. Don't be weak. Be strong. Carry on from my heart. Conduct your business. How hungry are you? How deep is your determination? How driven are you? These are the questions that you must ask yourself. But do you have the answers to it? It goes into a trance with good habits, good rituals, great follow-up.
Let me get my shit and go too.
I don't know what it is for you, but you got to own it. Own IT. Through all the ups, all the downs, remember that you are not perfect, so get over yourself. One thing I know is that you are perfectly imperfect, just like me. What do you do to better yourself? Are you owning it? Are you taking responsibility? Or are you blaming somebody else for the wrongs against you? It's not your fault, but it's your responsibility to fix it. It's your life. Nobody else can do it for you. So get up and go do those things that you don't want to do when you don't want to do them anymore.
Do you understand what it takes to be hungry? Now, if you're the type of person that's waiting for someone to serve you up a plate of success, then you're going to be waiting a long time. Because no one is waiting for you to make up your mind. Being hungry and staying driven is what it's going to take you to the next level, to elevate you in areas that you've never been. Being hungry and driven is important. It's more important than sleep. It's more important than excuses. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to question you. They're going to ask you why. But it's not up to them to make the decisions for you.
And I kept saying to myself, why is that the way that it is? And I guess I was okay for Wesley and Margaret Ann and Leonard and Angelo and Sharon and Linda, but it wasn't okay for me. I was curious. I wanted to live like Mr. Sidursky lived. I wanted the big car that he had. I wanted that big home that he had. We lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was 7 of us, plus Mama. He had a big mansion, just 3 of them, 10,000 square feet. I said, Mama, what is it, Leslie? One day, I want to buy you something just like this. My brothers and sisters, when we were on the bus going back, they were just engaged in playful things. I was thinking and dreaming. Mama didn't understand why I was thinking like that, because I'd been exposed to positive messages. I had to take care of Mr. Sidursky. I had to shine his shoes and clean his office. And every day when he was listening to motivational messages, I was hearing those things too. Earl Nightingale, we become what we think about.
Your success depends on you. How hungry are you? How driven are you? Do you go a full day without a meal? Are you the type of person that likes only to eat once a day? Now, how do you survive off of 1 meal a day? Well, you may be thinking, well, people do it all the time. But we're not talking about food nourishment. We're talking about what's inside, what really you're looking for, what exactly that you want out of your life. A different type of hunger. A hunger for success. A hunger to follow your dreams. And to get exactly it is what you're seeking in life. Standing out here in this desert, there are many different animals, creatures that roam throughout this desert. And things out here get eaten or they eat.
So get up and get set. Set yourself apart from being average, because you are not average. You are great. It's greatness, that's what it is. It's time for you to get the break that you deserve today and fight this good fight, because you're going to be a fighter every single day for the rest of your life. It's your life. It's your life, so guess what, guys? If you do the hard things in life, life gets easy. But if you do the easy things in life, life is going to be hard. The choice is yours.
All of us are self-made, but only the successful will admit it.
In order to be successful, you must be willing to do the things today others won't do in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. Your mind is a machine. You must program yourself for success. Wow. When I heard those words, I said, wait a minute. I can program my mind for success. I can program my mind for wealth. You can too. Trust me. I've earned over $55 million in the last 28 years. Anybody told me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now? I spoke recently in Sweden. They paid me 40,000 euro for an hour speech. I had no idea that this Les Brown that you now see had the ability to do that. I used to work for the Miami Sanitation Department as a garbage collector. I used to be a janitor. I used to do door-to-door sales. I used to work for Sears.
Good habits, good rituals, great follow-up. I looked at those goals every single morning, and I went into a trance. If you want to be a pro, a real pro, you better get some habits and rituals, and you better do them all day, every day. Habits and rituals will make you a pro. We played the #1 team in the country. They had the #1 player in the country, and we beat them. And I outplayed the #1 player in the country. I got to school the next day. The school was going crazy. Great game, Walt, man. You was on fire. You put us on your back. Thank you. Thank you. I'm fighting through the crowd trying to go to the counselor's office. That game was over. It happened yesterday. But I'm in school now, and I'm not a ball player right now. I'm a student, and I was trying to get to the counselor's office, and here's why. I had a 2.9.
The most important step we'll ever take in life is our next one. A lot of us get our feet stuck in concrete. We get our feet stuck in concrete because we're afraid to make enemies. We're afraid to speak what's on our mind. We're afraid of being in that group of people. And when you walk away, we're afraid of what they might say behind your back. All that fear clouds your brain, clouds your thinking. One thing in life, you're gonna always have haters. Embrace them. Trust me, your haters will say.
Sometimes you got to take a break from just about everything, disappear, come back, and shock the world. I'm talking to that athlete. I'm talking to that administrator. I'm talking to that nurse, that doctor. I'm talking to that student. I'm talking to that communicator. I'm talking to that pioneer, the inventor. I'm talking to that entrepreneur. I'm talking to that preacher. I'm talking to that person who refuses to stay.
And even though we beat the #1 team in the country, I outplayed the #1 player in the country, and all I cared about was getting to my coach's office. I got into the counselor's office, and she says, great game yesterday. Thank you. But can I ask you a question? I got a 2.9. What do I need to do to get a 3.0? She says, Walter, I was afraid you were going to ask me that. I mean, you're doing great now. But you were in such a hole. The 2.9 is the best that you can do. For the first time in my life, I was pissed off about school. For the first time in my life, I was pissed off about education.
Where they are, I'm talking to that person that doesn't have a problem laying in obscurity, because you know that when you come out of the dark room, all eyes on you. We live in a culture of business, distraction and noise. And sometimes the only way something is going is if we disappear. Sometimes you got to delete the app. Sometimes you have to walk away.
More than one thing, embrace the fact that people don't like you. It means you're doing something right. With success in life comes more haters. Don't make them hurt your feelings. Use them for fuel. Use them for energy. In times of need, and when you don't want to do shit, roll through your brain that person who said you couldn't do something. Weren't fast enough, good enough, smart enough. Use it for energy. Instead of killing them with kindness, we have to continue pushing past the odds. Use everything this world has to give you for fuel.
how to be mentally tough, who is able to look at it and say, no, I'm good enough to learn here. I'm good enough to try some new shit. And that is the mark of a true champion. It's humility, true humility. You know, people think humility is, you know, I don't brag about my success. No, dude, you guys got it all wrong. Humility is the skill of understanding that you can always improve. You can always get better. And you're no better than the work you do. So, I mean, dude, that's something most people just won't do.
All I ever knew was effort will get me seen on tape. Effort will get me noticed to get to the league. Effort would one day take care of my mom and my kids. Effort, which is between you and you. Nobody else can give you effort. Effort is with inside, man. And I'm still grinding because the next kid is talking about he getting too old. Keep watching me if I am. Nobody ain't got to convince me of what I do. I do what I do because I do what I do, because I'm built from something.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way, and you're going to be okay with it. But quit tripping during the process. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why I lose my job? You ain't the only one unemployed. Oh, Lord, why he leave me? You ain't the first chick got left. This might not even be your last time getting left. Pull yourself together and quit tripping, because you in the process.
So I ask, what is your wake-up call? What is enslaving you? What is controlling your thoughts? Is it the television set? Feeding your mind images of what life should be? Is it the internet drawing you in and controlling your time? Is it drugs or alcohol numbing your brain and diminishing your desires? Or is it weakness? A lack of discipline that prevents you from accomplishing what you want to accomplish.
Some of you are not where you want to be. You don't have what you want to have. You're not doing what you want to do because you've never been exposed to it before. And that's how my life changed. When I started hanging around millionaires, when I started hanging around successful business owners, when I started hanging around success, it rubbed off on the kid. Are you hearing me? I took those principles and bam, took them to another level. And I'm about to share some principles with you today for real. It's going to take you to a whole nother level. So last week I told you, shut up. Shut up. You talk too much and you never shut up. I told you to talk less and grind more. Are you hearing me? Talk less and grind more.
You know, there are so many people on the planet and they're really operating from the past. And here's what I mean. Something happened to them when they were little kids. They were told not to dream too big. They were told to dress like everyone else. They had a dream and the dream failed. Or maybe you were a teenager and there was someone that you loved and you got rejected. Or maybe you were 22 and you started a business and you failed in that business. And now it's 10 years later or 20 years later or 40 years later and you're still living in the past.
Average person, you and I have about 75,000 thoughts a day rattling around in this thing we call our brains and our minds. 75,000 of them. The crazy thing is 91% of those thoughts are identical to the previous day and are identical to the day before that and the day before that and the day before that. And then we wonder why our life seems to repeat itself over and over again. So really the difference in our life, if we have 75,000 thoughts a day, here's the crazy thing. 91% of them are exactly the same. The separation in our life is in those 9% of their thoughts, because remember this, these magnets are pretty powerful. That's why I'm always saying that your obsessions become your possessions, because they do. You draw into your life exactly what it is you think about. It's a physical reality that you attract to yourself what you think about. So the difference in our life is 9% of our thoughts. That's why people say all the time the difference between winning and losing is so small, it's almost too scary to talk about. And really, we've identified what it is. It's 9% of what we think about alters the direction of our life. So what I'm here to tell you today is you've got to hone in and get aware of what you think about, and then alter those 9% of the thoughts that are variable on a daily basis to serve you.
These thoughts that we have, we think they're our thoughts, so it makes it really hard to change them. And people meditate and try to not think thoughts. Show me somebody that's done that successfully, consistently. They're full of shit. Right? Everybody, the mind thinks thoughts. But here's the distinction. If I told you 100 years ago we were going to fly to the moon and back, you would have called me a lunatic. That's where the term comes from. And people still use it, and it doesn't make any sense, because a lunatic is somebody who thought we go to the moon and back and we've done it, right?
I didn't know that.
But if I would have told you 100 years ago that there's going to be a box in your pocket, and you're going to pull this thing out, you're going to hit a couple buttons, and then it's going to capture invisible waves that are drifting around the earth and bring the waves in, and you're going to see somebody on the other side of the earth and you're going to talk to them, you're totally nuts. Thoughts are those invisible waves. And when you use your body in a certain way, if I sit like this, I'm going to tap into a different channel of those waves than if I'm sitting like this. Kind of like a TV set. If I turn one channel, it might be a comedy channel. I'm going to see a lot of laughter. Turn another one, it's a horror channel. Turn another channel, it's a romance channel. This is what changes which of those waves you touch in. So if you can start to realize that your thoughts that you think are your thoughts, there's nothing unique about your thoughts. They've been around for thousands of years. You're just tapping into them because of what you're doing with your body that makes you either fearful or passionate or courageous or whatever you're feeling. As you go in those states, you get different thoughts. So what I want people to see is that learn how to just see those thoughts go by. Learn how to be entertained by those thoughts.
That means when you have opposition, when you have trouble and things come against you, God has a table there. The key is to don't fight with the opposition. Don't live worried, upset, stressed out. No, take a seat at the table God has prepared. If you will stay in rest, then God will go to work. But when you work, God rests. As long as you're uptight, worried, trying to make it happen only in your own strength, it will limit what God will do. The psalmist said, "Be still and know that He is God." Clear out the worry. Clear out the negativity. Live from a place of faith, a place of peace. God has you in the palm of His hand. Nothing you're facing is a surprise to Him. He said to the Israelites, "Stand still and you will see the deliverance of the Lord." He wasn't just talking about physically. He was talking about in their mind.